In this session, we're going to review the BIM 360 Team interface. When we first open the interface, we can see the name of the hub here in the upper left corner. It's right after the word Team. In this case, my hub is called Engineering Concepts Incorporated. Down below, we can see a listing of projects. Each of these projects represents a cloud-based 24/7 meeting room where people can collaborate on plan sheets and models. With each project, we can see the project name. There's an avatar. We can see who owns the project and the date the project was created. Using these hyperlinks at the top, we can control the number of projects that we see below. Currently, we are seeing all the projects. I'm going to choose Owned by Me. Now that's anticlimactic because you can see right here I own all of these projects. Let's go to Shared with Me. This will show me projects that are owned by others that I've been invited to. Currently, we don't have any. Let's jump over to Archived. This will show us projects that have been removed for archival reasons. As you can see, I have 3 projects. Now, just because a project has been archived doesn't mean it's gone forever. If I hover over a project, I can come down and choose Restore to restore it. Or if I click Delete, then that project would be gone forever. Let's come back to All. Next, we'll talk about the Pinned option. This allows us to simplify the number of projects that we see below. For instance, let's say that I am working on the Sycamore Road Connection project, and I'll be working on this exclusively for the next couple weeks. That's the only project I'd like to see in this list. Well, if I go to the other projects, I can click this pin icon to unpin it. I'll come down and I will unpin these others. We'll unpin all of them except for Sycamore Road Connection. At this point, I'll come up and click Pin. And now you can see Sycamore Road Connection is the only project we see in this list. So using Pinned, I can have a more targeted list of projects. I'm going to put things back the way they were. I'll choose All, and then I will click to repin these other projects. Over to the right is an activity panel. Using this, I can view the goings-on in my project hub. As you can see, there have been several files uploaded recently. Right here we can see the file name. We can see who uploaded the file and to what project that file was uploaded. I can also see the date. Let's drag this up. Looks like an image has been uploaded. There was a live meeting recently. And then most recently, a PDF was uploaded to the Sycamore Road Connection project. At the top right of the interface is a series of icons. This one on the left is a search field. I can use this to search the entire hub. For instance, maybe I'm looking for Navisworks files. I'm going to type NWD. That text string represents the file extension. You can see that 2 files were found. One is in the Terrell Road Extension project, and the other is in State Route 5 Cloverleaf. Now, each of these listings represents a hyperlink that I can click to view that file. Now that I've got the proposed underground utilities file open, you can see there's a breadcrumb trail here at the top of the screen that shows me how to get back. Home represents the home screen where we just were. Here's the project name. Here's the folder where that NWD file is located. And then this is the actual Navisworks file. To go back to the main screen, I'll choose Home. Now, when it comes to the search field, it's important to note that the search applies to the entire hub, and there is a limit to the number of files that we can see in the list. As an example, I'm going to type DWF. Now, I have several DWFs in these projects, but you can see that only 5 of them show up in this list. Knowing that, you'll want to make sure that your text strings are targeted to have the most valuable results. I'm going to backspace this out, and we'll take a look at this next icon. This one shows us finished jobs. In this list, you can see that I have downloaded a couple of folders in the recent past, and both of them were successful. I could clear this list if I want to. Coming over to the right, we can see a list of alerts. This is another means of notifying me of things that have gone on in the hub. Here I can see a meeting was scheduled, a file was uploaded. If I drag this down, we can see that someone has accepted an invitation to one of my projects. Note the additional options below. I can view all alerts or mark all as read. Moving to the right, we have a help icon. I can use this to view the BIM 360 team help documentation. I can also visit the forums or the community to ask product-specific questions. Since this application is constantly evolving, there's also a What's New area where I can find out any additions that have been made to the program. Likewise, I can use this Show Walkthrough option to take a guided tour of the interface. Finally, I'm going to click my avatar in the upper right corner. Using this menu, I can view my Autodesk account. I can adjust BIM 360 team settings that are applicable to me. And since I'm an admin on this hub, I can use the admin option to adjust the properties of the hub itself. To return to the main screen, I will click the BIM 360 Team icon. Now that we're familiar with the BIM 360 Team interface, we are ready to create our first project, and we'll do that in the next session. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. In this session, we'll look at how we can create a BIM 360 Team project. Now, before we get started, in the interest of full disclosure, let me mention that I am logged in as an administrator on this account. I actually have multiple accounts. That way I can create a project and I can invite myself to that project so we can see what the process looks like. To create a project, I'm going to come up and click the Create Project button. I can then give the project a name. I'm going to call this Fish Pond Road Improvements. If I want, I can enter a description. Finally, I can come down and select a project avatar. There's a couple we can select from out of the box, or I can click to upload my own. I'm going to select this image that was taken of Fish Pond Road, and I'll click Open. When I'm finished, I'll come down and choose Create Project. When the project is created, I am taken directly into the project. You can see the breadcrumb trail here. Here's home where we started. We are in the Fish Pond Road Improvements project. Currently, there is no uploaded data. At this time, I'd like to create some folders that I could upload my data to. I'll do that by clicking the New Folder button, and I'll create a folder called Plan Sheets, and I'll choose Create. I'd like to create another new folder. I'm going to call this one Aggregated Models, because I'm certain I'll have some of those. Let's create one more folder. I'm going to call this one Design Documentation, and I'll choose Create. So at this point, I have created my project. I have created a nice directory structure that I can upload content to. Finally, I'd like to invite the other members of the design team. I can do that by coming down and clicking the View and Manage Members button. I will then choose Invite, and then I can enter email addresses. When I'm finished adding members, I'll come down and choose Send Invitations. Each member on that list will now receive an email inviting them to my project. On screen is an example of the emailed invitation. To join the project, a team member will click the Access Project button. They would then sign in using their Autodesk credentials. In the event they did not have an account, they could create an account right here. Once signed in, they could then accept or reject the invitation. Now that I've accepted the invitation, you can see that I'm showing up here in the list of project members. To reduce confusion, I'm going to return to my other account. I'll do that by closing this browser and the email. And when I return, I'll press F5 to refresh this interface. As you can see, I now have two members of my project team. As the other people accept their invitations, we'll see them showing up here to the right. So at this point, I have successfully created a project. I have generated a directory structure, and I've invited the members of the team. I am now ready to start uploading project-related content, and we'll look at how we can do that in the next session. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. In this session, we're going to look at how we can upload content to a BIM 360 Team project. As you can see, I've just logged into BIM 360 Team. I'm going to select my project. I'll choose Fish Pond Road Improvements. When I get into the project, I can see the directories that we made earlier. I'd like to upload content into each of these folders. I'm going to start with Plan Sheets, and then I can upload in two different ways. I can use this menu. Let me click. You can see some of the options I have available. I'm going to choose File, and then I'll navigate my hard drive to the directory containing my data. I'm going to go into this DWFs folder, and in here I have a plan set I'd like to put up for the team to review. I'll select the first file, I'll hold my Shift key and select the last file, and then I'll come down and click Open. Now, as these files are uploaded and processed, I don't have to wait. I can continue working. Let's go back up to the project level. I will then come down and choose the Design Documentation folder. In here, I'd like to add a PDF. Let's try uploading a different way. I'm going to bring up Windows Explorer. We'll navigate to that same folder. I'll jump into this PDFs directory. I can also upload data using drag and drop. Let me just drag this in, and I'll release. Same as before, while that file processes, I'm going to go back to the project level, and I'll choose Aggregated Models this time. Once again, I'll bring up Windows Explorer, and I'm going to select this file within my Models directory. This one's called Prop Underground Utilities. This is an NWD file. It was created using Navisworks. I'll go ahead and drop this in. Now, while that file processes, let's go back to the top level, and we'll take a look at our plan sheets. Note that we can view uploaded content two ways, in a list like this, or I can view them as thumbnails by clicking this icon in the upper right. Let's flip back to the list. To open a file, I'll click on it. When you select a file, it will open up in this environment called the Large Model Viewer. The type of file that you open will control the number of tools that you see in this interface. In this case, I'm working with a plan sheet. This was printed from Civil 3D as a DWF. It is two-dimensional. We can see that by this icon in the upper left corner. In this environment, I can pan and zoom just like I can in Civil 3D or AutoCAD. I can roll the mouse wheel forward or back to zoom in and out. I can hold the wheel down to pan. So using those two functions, I can very easily navigate and review this sheet. Now, if you are a Civil 3D user, you'll notice that the mouse wheel zoom direction is inverted. To change that, you can come down and click the Settings button, then choose Navigation and Selection, and you can reverse the direction right here. Let me close this. I'd like to review another sheet. Let me go back up one directory, and then I'll select this Plan and Profile sheet. Let's zoom in, and I'll take a look at this corridor. One of the reasons why I like using the DWF format for my plan sheets is that this DWF can retain much of my civil object data. For instance, I'm going to click the Properties pane, and then I'll come over and select this sanitary manhole. When I do, we can see the same data that's available in Civil 3D. And that goes for all the objects. Let me zoom in. I'll select this pipe. We'll select this surface and the corridor. So even though this is a 2D plan sheet and virtually none of these items are labeled, I can still access that underlying data by printing these sheets to DWF. Let's close the Properties pane. I'm going to back up to the project level directory, and I'll come down and choose Design Documentation. In here is that PDF specifications book that we uploaded. I'm going to select this. That PDF then opens up in the Large Model Viewer. This is a 510-page document. Notice that all of the hyperlinks are retained, so I can easily navigate this by clicking these hyperlinks. I can roll the mouse wheel to jump from one page to the other. Let's go down a little bit more. Another way I can navigate a large PDF is by moving my cursor to the top of the screen. In the upper right here, we'll find a bookmark menu. If I open this, I have access to all the bookmarks in this document. So I can use these to navigate the various chapters and specifications as well. Now that I'm finished looking at the PDF, let's back up to the project level folder, and I'll come down and choose Aggregated Models. Here we have the NWD file that we uploaded. I'm going to select this. This opens up in the Large Model Viewer. I can tell this is a 3D file based on the icon here in the upper left. And even though this is 3D, I can navigate this as easily as a 2D document. Once again, if I hold the mouse wheel down, I can pan. If I roll the wheel forward or back, I can zoom in and out. If I hold the left mouse button down, I can orbit around the model. Knowing that, I'm going to orbit around, and let's zoom in on this structure. Same as with the 2D document, this model is also capable of holding my civil engineering data. I'm going to select this structure, and then I'll bring up the Properties pane. And once again, we can see the same information that's available in Civil 3D. When I'm finished reviewing the model, we'll return to the project level folder. As you can see, using BIM 360 Team, it's very easy to upload and review project-related content. The best part is, you don't have to be a CAD expert to collaborate on a design. Using the Large Model Viewer, everyone is able to participate in the review process. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. The most important part of collaboration is having an open dialogue with other members of the design team. In this session, we'll look at how we can use BIM 360 Team to add comments to a design. As you can see, I've just launched BIM 360 Team. I'm going to jump into a project. I'll select this one called Fish Pond Road Improvements. And I'd like to take a look at the plan sheets. I'll do that by selecting the plan sheets folder. Here we have a large collection of DWFs. Let's open up Plan and Profile 2. When the sheet comes up in the large model viewer, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel forward to zoom in. I can hold the wheel down and pan. We can review the sheet. In this area, it might make more sense for this proposed culvert to cross the road on an angle. So I'd like to add a comment. To create the comment, I'll come down to the toolbar and click the Comments button. I will then choose Comment on Points. This allows me to place my comment at a specific location on the page. I'm going to click right here, and then I can enter my comment. It might be better for this culvert to be placed at an angle. When I'm finished, I'll choose Post. This will add the comment to the sheet. You can see that's comment number 1. In fact, if I come up here, we can open the Comments pane and we can see the comment associated with this sheet. The nice thing is, now that I've created this comment, everybody associated with this project got an email informing them of my notation. They can then use that email to link back to this sheet and review my comment and reply if necessary. Let's add another comment. I'm going to pan this down. Here we can see where that culvert is crossing the sanitary sewer. I am going to add another comment right here. Do we have enough separation between these utilities? Once again, I'll choose Post. We can see that we've placed a new comment, number 2. That one is now showing up in the Comments pane. Just for a second, I'm going to jump back to the Plan Sheets folder. We'll assume that we are someone that received an email about the comments, and we're jumping in to take a look at what was said. I'm going to choose that Plan and Profile sheet. Here we can see the 2 comments on the page. If I hover over these, they'll open up, and we can see the information. Likewise, if there were several comments, I can always open the Comments pane, and I can select these from here to navigate to that area of the page. Since I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and reply to my own comment. I'll say, I agree. I'll make this change this afternoon. When I'm finished, I'll click Reply. And we won't see the update over here in the pane just yet. I'll need to hit F5 to refresh this page. Using the same technique, we can easily comment on any DWF plan sheet or aggregated model. Now that I'm finished reviewing the comments for this page, I'm going to go ahead and close the pane, and I'll return to the overall project level. As you can see, BIM 360 Team makes it very easy for members of a design team to provide input on the status of a design. By creating comments, everyone on the team can be engaged in the dialogue and be aware of any potential changes. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. At times, it may be helpful for design comments to be more graphical. In this session, we'll look at how to create markups using BIM 360 Team. I'd like to start by selecting a project. I'll choose this one called Fish Pond Road Improvements, and then I'm responsible for reviewing some of the plan sheets. So let's jump to the Plan Sheets directory. And let's take a look at Plan and Profile Sheet 1. This is a DWF file printed from Civil 3D. To review the sheet, I'm going to roll the mouse wheel forward. To zoom in, I will then hold the wheel down to pan. And as I look at this sheet, I can see that I have a low spot here in the proposed grading on either side of the road. We'll need a way to address stormwater in this area. So let me pan this down. Rather than creating a simple comment, I would like to be a little more graphical in my notation. Let's create a markup. To do that, I'll come down to the toolbar and I'll click the Markup button. Here we can see all of the markup tools. To the left side here, you can see that we can create several shapes as well as some freehand line work. I can also create text. If I click the Line Style button, I can control the color of the markup and the line width. I'd like to start by creating some text. I'll click the Text button. Once I've selected text, you can see this now becomes text style. If I click this button, this is where we can control the text size. I'm going to go with large text, and then I will click on Screen, and then I'll add my note. We'll probably need to have a culvert in this area. When I'm finished with my note, I'll click on Screen. If I want to adjust this note, I can click on it later. You can see a series of grips. I can use these to change the size of my text area. I can also click and hold to place this text wherever I like. I'm going to go ahead and put it here. And then once again, I'll click on Screen to confirm. In addition to placing this note, I'd kind of like to draw what I'm looking for. I'm going to start by drawing a culvert. I'll come down and choose Rectangle, and then I will click and hold. We'll drag out a rectangular shape. When I release, notice we get the same grips. I can use these to resize that geometry. I can also click this round grip to adjust its rotation. That looks good. Let me click on Screen to confirm. I'm going to come down and click freehand as well, and maybe we can rough in some of the proposed contours that I'm looking for. I'll just click, hold, and drag. We'll put in a 635 contour. Let me click. I'll click, hold, and drag. We'll bring this one down as well. Note that any of these items can be edited later by simply hovering and clicking. If we look down at the toolbar, you can see that I can delete any of the items as well. I also have an undo option down here. I also have standard clipboard functionality. I can cut, copy, and paste these objects if I'd like to create duplicates. Let me click to confirm that one, and we'll create a quick 636 contour. And I'll create one more. And let me create one more contour here for 634. There we go. That looks good for now. Once I've completed my markup, I'll drag this text over a little bit closer. And when I'm totally finished, I'll come down and click Save. This saves the markup to the sheet. Let me come up and click the Comments pane, and you can see right here that a markup is really nothing more than a graphical comment. You're essentially adding an illustration to your notation. Let's close the comment pane. I'll pan this over. I'd like to add one more markup. I seem to recall when we were having the kickoff meeting for this project that there was a utility map that showed a fiber optic line in this area. I'm not seeing that line showing up on the sheet, so let me come down and create a markup for that. I will create a freehand line. We'll just drag this down, and then I'd like to add a text note. I'm going to go with the default text size this time. I've seen a utility map that shows a fiber optic line in this area. Can we confirm the location? I will then drag out the text box to make it a little bit larger, and then I'll click on Screen. If I really want to go old school, we can put an arrow on this, and I can add a revision cloud. Let me click on Screen to confirm that geometry, and then I'll click Save to save my markup. Once again, we'll go back over to the Comments pane, and we can see the second markup is over here as well. Just like with other comments, the members of the design team have all been notified of these notations. I'm going to jump back to the Plan Sheets folder, and then we'll assume that we got an email mentioning these proposed comments. I'm going to select Plan and Profile Sheet 1. When I open the sheet, I can see the markups. I can then zoom in and review them. I could also open the Comments pane and select the markups from here to jump to that area on the page. After looking at the markup, I can add a reply. I'm going to go ahead and reply to my own markup. I agree. I'll get this taken care of first thing tomorrow. And I'll choose Post when finished. Now that I'm finished reviewing this page, I'll go ahead and close the pane, and I'll return to the top level project folder. So if the time comes that your review comments require a little more illustration, BIM 360 Team provides a collection of tools for creating redline markups. Using the markup tools can be a perfect way to add more color to your commentary. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. As changes are made to a project, BIM 360 Team will retain a history of the change requests, making it easy to trace the evolution of a final design. In this session, we'll look at how BIM 360 Team maintains versions of design files. Now, I've just launched BIM 360 Team. I'm going to jump into a project. I'll select this one called Fish Pond Road Improvements. And then I'd like to look at the plan sheets, so I'll choose the Plan Sheets folder. And then I'm going to select this Plan and Profile Sheet 1. When this comes up, if I zoom in, we can see the markups that I added earlier. Let's assume that these changes have been made. I'm going to jump over to Civil 3D and we'll take a look. In Civil 3D, I can see the layout. Let me zoom in. Here we can see the new additions. I have a proposed box culvert and the revised proposed grading. Let's zoom out. I would like to plot a new version of this sheet. To do that, I'll come up and launch the plot command. And then I'm going to plot this to DWF. So for my printer, I'll choose DWF6E plot, and then I'll come down and click OK. I'm going to save this plot in my plots directory, and I'm going to give it the same name as the original file. That was 03-pp1.dwf. Let's click Save. Once the plot is finished, I'm going to return to BIM 360 Team. Over here, I'm going to jump back to the Plan Sheets directory, and then we'll upload that new DWF file. I'm going to do that by clicking the Upload button. I'll choose File. I'll select the new DWF, and I'll click Open. Right here, we can see that new file is being processed. When the processing is finished, I'm going to select the file to open it in the viewer. As you can see, we are now seeing the latest version of this file. Let me zoom in. There's the culvert and the proposed grading. This sheet now becomes my blank slate to add new comments and markups if necessary. Take a look at the top of the screen. Notice this says V2. This is the second version of this file. If I open the version menu, we can see all the versions. If I select a prior version, I can open it up in the viewer. In this case, I selected version 1. Here we can see those markups. Let me open the menu. We'll flip back to version 2. Using the version menu, I can trace and view the history of any design file. For a more comprehensive list of change requests, I can come over and open the comments pane. Now, we don't have any comments for the current sheet, but you can see version 1 has 2 comments. As additional changes are made to this design file, a history of all the change requests can be found over here. When I'm finished viewing the comments, I'll go ahead and close the pane, and then I'm going to return to the top-level project folder. So when it comes to project collaboration, change requests are a natural part of that process. Now, as important as those changes are, it's just as important to know the history behind those changes. Fortunately, BIM 360 Team's versioning feature makes it easy to track the evolution of any design. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below. When collaborating on any project, you're likely to have questions. For instance, who collected the survey data for this project? Who's in charge of environmental permitting? What action items were assigned at last week's meeting? At times like these, BIM 360 Team provides a project wiki feature to help you get answers to your project-related questions. In this session, we'll look at how to create wiki pages. I'm going to start by selecting a project. I'll choose this one called Fish Pond Road Improvements. And right here in the directory structure at the top, we can see an option called Wiki Pages. I'm going to select this. This is the place where I can store important information specific to this project. For instance, let's say I'd like to create a wiki page to keep track of the project team and their responsibilities. To create a new page, I'll come up and click the New Wiki Page button. I can then give my page a title. I'm going to call this Project Team and Responsibilities. I can then come down and click to put my cursor in the editor. Now, if you've ever created a blog article before, you'll find many of these tools familiar. We have an undo and redo option. We can find and replace. We can create block quotes. I can add or remove hyperlinks or create anchors. I can add an image or a table, horizontal line or symbol. We have tools here to control text justification. I've got some standard tools over here to control text formatting. I can use this button to remove formatting if I want to. I can change the background color or text color. We have tools here to control indentation or bulleted or numbered lists. I can create superscript or subscript text. Right here I can control my text size, font, and style. So using this editor, I can create virtually any document I want. Let me backspace this out. One of the things I like about the editor is I can use it to repurpose text that I've already created. For instance, I'm going to bring up Microsoft Word. As you can see, using Word, I've already created a table that contains the names of the team members, their responsibility, and their contact information. I would like to repurpose this, so I'm going to click to put my cursor to the right of the table. I will then drag and select all the text, and I'll press Ctrl-C to copy it to my clipboard. When I'm finished, I'll click back in the BIM 360 Team Editor, and I'll press Ctrl-V to paste. Notice the table, as well as the text and the formatting, is retained. When I'm finished, I'll come up and choose Publish to publish my wiki page. Right here, we can see what the finished page looks like. The nice thing is everyone associated with this project can now leverage this information. I'm going to go back up to the breadcrumb trail, and we'll jump back to the Wiki Pages level. Right here, we can see the new page we just created. Another great use for the wiki feature is storing meeting notes. Let's create one more page. I'm going to come up and click New Wiki Page. For the title, I'm going to use the date of the meeting. We'll do 2016-10-18 meeting notes. And then rather than typing this up by hand, I'm going to repurpose the notes that I created at the meeting. Let's bring back Microsoft Word. I will then click inside my notes document, and I'll press Ctrl-A to select all of this text. I'll press Ctrl-C to copy it to my clipboard. I'll then click in the editor, and I'll press Ctrl-V to paste. Once again, all of the formatting is retained. When I'm finished, I'll come up and choose Publish. At any point, if I'd like to make changes to these wiki pages, notice there's an Edit option right here. Now that I'm finished with the wiki feature, let's jump back to the Wiki Pages level. We can see both of the pages right here. Finally, we'll return to the project level folder. So the next time you have questions regarding a project, take advantage of BIM 360 Team's wiki feature. When used effectively, it can be a one-stop shop for storing and accessing all of your project-specific information. Would you like to explore other Autodesk infrastructure ideas and workflows? If so, please visit the Civil Immersion blog by scanning the QR code or by following the URL listed below.